if you'd like to unmute.
Hi, is it working?
Yes, there you go. Yay. Thanks for joining me. Obviously, as I said, I've kind of mentioned my story. We're going to go into your story shortly. But before we do that, if you just want to give yourself a bit of an introduction, and then I'll put a timer on for kind of the 18 minutes, and we'll go from there, shall we?
All right, yeah. Now is the hard part of figuring out what's worthwhile to say about myself.
Yeah.
And you didn't mention this part in the prep, so yeah, I'm Olivia. I'm an IT engineer. I work with systems and networks at Twitch, which is a great company that does online video streaming. I struggle with mental health, and I like to talk about it. Apart from that, I really love video games. So basically, if I have free time, I will play video games.
Oh, wicked. Nice. Fantastic. Thank you, Olivia. So it's coming up to the eighth minute, and I feel sure I can work my times off of that. So at the 21st minute, we'll call it ahead. Okay. So Olivia, if you could you tell me your story, get everybody an idea of a bit more behind why you're here and your suicide story?
Sure. So I'm 23 years old, and my mental health story started when I was 15. I started having symptoms of depression and anxiety, and in the fashion of being in Czech Republic, where I'm from, I didn't do anything about it until it got that bad that I couldn't remember days. I would be in high school and I would have to ask people if I was there the previous day. So my teacher, who I'm still with contact with, helped me to get into therapy, and it was the first kick I needed. So I started therapy when I was 18. I got a therapist and psychiatrist that was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. And yeah, I worked through it for a long time. I worked hard on it. It got better and worse and better and worse. And in October 2019, I moved to the UK, where it was a really big influx of positive energy, because this major life change gives you really a boost. So for some time, I was quite okay, but I still continued with my medication. Getting therapy on the NHS is really hard. I still have not managed to get a single session of therapy on NHS since 2019. But I'm fortunate enough to have private medical insurance, so I do have a psychiatrist, and I do pay for therapy. Throughout the months, the early months when I was in the UK, I got progressively worse, and I don't really know why. There was not a specific trigger. I was doing well. I didn't have any specific troubles, but looking back, it might have been the switch of, speaking a new language, living a new life, that opened some gates to some memories that I started to process. So I worked with my psychiatrist on trying to prevent this. In the spring, I started having seizures, and upon investigation with multiple doctors, we came to the conclusion that they were not caused by anything physical. I was having seizures every few days because of my mental health. And that was scary, and I deteriorated further and further. I would love to tell you about it in more detail, but I don't remember. That's one of the things how I know that I'm doing really bad. I start losing memory, and it ended up with a lot of self-harm and a serious attempt at ending my life, which I survived. And 4 days later, I started in the Nightingale Hospital in London, where I spent months on the psych ward, which changed my life completely. It was the value of it is so underestimated. It brought me more value than I was promised. And anyone I spoke to had the same experience as me, that even just being around the people who experience similar stuff, talking about it, and having regular meals, having regular sleep, having the time to take the pressure off, put the stress away, just gives you an opportunity to really dig into your mental health. And after that, I was much better. I still am. I have not had a second suicide attempt ever since. I still continued trying to figure out what the best combination of medication is. So for people who are, the classic on NHS that I hear about is you go to your GP, you tell them I'm depressed, they give you sertraline and tell you to come back if it doesn't help. So, if you're in a situation where you've been given medication that doesn't work, I tried like 4 or 5 different medications since 2019. Some of them caused me to be constantly nauseous and not be able to eat for a month. Some of them caused me to lose feelings in my extremities. And at some point, I figured out what was working for me. So if you're in this situation, just continue. There is something that will help. And if not, they're going to figure it out. But there is usually something that will help you at least a little bit. Don't just throw it away because the first one didn't work. And yeah, that continued throughout the year. I had ups and downs again, like usually Christmas time. And I don't even know why, because it's not a special time for me, but might have something to do with the fact that there's no sun around Christmas in the UK. And I had to call a 999 at late December. And one of my friend's family just picked me up from the hospital, and they took me in for 2 months, and I lived for 2 months with someone else because they wanted me to be better. And yeah, the company helped, and just people who never met me before paid attention to me and made sure that I was doing better. So if I look back at my story, I see just going down, and at some point there's someone who intervenes, someone who shouldn't, biologically, they shouldn't care at all, but just they intervene and they sent me straight back up. And I just love this about humanity, that you just find people that care. You wouldn't expect them to, but they do. And yeah, there I am, still alive a year later, with more positive outlook on life, even though, half an hour ago I was lying on the floor crying. So the ups and downs, they don't come like month and month. They are immediate, and they're there all the time, and every day is a stupid battle. But there's experiences that just gave me reasons to believe there's still stuff to do. So yeah, that would be about my story. Sorry if I went on a tangent a little bit.
No, it's good. Thank you. I wanted you to explain it fully. I've obviously got some questions which but there is a side question for you from what you were saying, is how much time now do you spend kind of being able to be away from some of this stuff? So you said when you went into the psych ward, one of the nicest bit was being able to get enough sleep, being away from things, being present, all that kind of stuff. Do you put time aside for that still?
Yes. What I kept 100% is the sleep schedule. No matter what's happening, I sleep every night, 8 to 12 hours, I tended to blame myself for, people sleep less and they're fine. And it was important for me to realize I do need this amount of sleep. So I do it because it's one of the things that I realized makes me better, and that I didn't believe would make me better. But by experience, I found out that it would. So that's definitely one of the things. And also, I take time to go through, there's a borderline personality disorder workbook, which I found. So I take time to work through this and take time to look for materials to somehow push myself to work on it further, which I think helps a lot.
Yeah, wicked. So you said it's obviously, and this kind of covers what we've spoken about. You said it's a continuous battle. What things do you do to make sure you stay kind of in a good space, positive space, more often than not?
Remembering that I've done it before. So when I'm feeling low, I remember how low I felt before, and I got through it. So by some sort of logic, or history repeats, I guess. I try to logic myself into the fact that it is definitely possible to get through it. So why not?
Yeah.
And also curiosity. I'm really into, like, I love science. I read art journal articles and keep up on the latest research. So I'm just curious, what can I do and fix mental health for everyone and win a Nobel Prize. And if I am having issues, why should other people be having issues? So maybe I can fix it if I just continue going. That's probably, and yeah, big part of it is, if I'm going down for a period of down, which definitely will happen again and again, not resisting it, but riding it. Not indulging, riding it. I did spend most of July this year in my bed, only visiting the bathroom and back. I ate there, I slept there, I worked there, and I didn't take a single shower on my own. My darling fiance had washed me in a bathtub, dried me, put my clothes on, and put me back to bed. All the time. I was not capable of taking a shower on my own 2 months ago. But I allowed myself this time to do it because I knew that at some point I'm going to realize, okay, I felt this. I've been feeling this for a long time. We need to change this. And I'm going to find a way to get out. But trying to prevent it, trying to say it's not happening, trying to just pretend it's not happening, that's not helpful. So if possible, write it out. Give it space. Pain needs to be felt. Sadness needs to be felt. It can't be avoided.
Yeah, that's great advice. And that covers the next question. So I'm going to move on to the last one because we have a couple of minutes left. Why do you think you're doing so well at the moment in a positive headspace? What are the positives in your life which are helping you get through this?
I think I got myself into a good position because I told everyone, and that's my advice. Just tell everyone. Everyone. I told my work. I told my manager. I told my HR. Told my partner off the bat. I tell people in the shops sometimes for no reason whatsoever. But the fact that everybody knows means that I can tell them honestly how I feel. And my job, my work has been incredible in allowing me to recover. Getting occupational health assessment from work is a great thing because then they understand you better. Yes, and they can help you. And when I talk to my manager, I can say, yeah, last week I didn't do a lot of stuff on my project because I felt really bad. And he says, okay, what can we do to help you and make you feel better? Do you need time off or something? Also, taking sick days for mental health becomes a normal thing once people know. So creating the support that might not be, the immediate, like, we're going to bring you food or we're going to bathe you for a month, which not everybody has. Bless my fiance. It's just, yeah, the support group of people who know is the thing that keeps me in the good mindset. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend everyone doing that.
Yeah, makes you more comfortable. Makes you more comfortable when actually being honest and authentic. You don't have to hide away from this, and I think some of that can be some of the hardest parts. And I think that's key as well, is that talking out. We have hit the 18-minute mark. So Olivia, thank you for joining. I'll reach out to you afterwards. Thank you for sharing your story and all your great tips and advice. And we'll speak to you soon.
Speak soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Really positive end to that story. Hopefully Olivia can carry on doing such a great. Maths isn't my strong part, so you've still got like 5 minutes of talking left. And what I will do, we'll take it through to 10 past, because I know that's when Johnny will join us. So yeah, obviously a couple of questions that we did miss. Going back to your story, and you said you were obviously through this constant battle. What's your advice for getting help in your situation? How did you go about this? If when you first experienced some of your downs, I guess the word to use.
Actually, I'm going to start from a little bit of a different end, because when Misty was talking, I realized here in the UK, my advice to people is, if you're thinking about suicide, call an ambulance, because if you were thinking you might have a heart attack, you are calling an ambulance immediately, and the response from ambulances, you did well. You did correct. You thought about suicide and you called us. And I realized that it's not the same advice I can give to an American, because of, some Americans getting an Uber to what do they call it, ER, instead of ambulance, because of financial costs. And it's just the stuff that is available for mental health. The resources are so much different everywhere. I would say, if you are as privileged as me and have company policy on private medical care in the UK, go use it all. If you don't, talk to your GP often, and whenever you feel like you need immediate assistance, go to A&E or call an ambulance, because that creates a paper record that your GP can use and tell the mental health team, hey, she needs help. Or even if not, if you end up in A&E with suicidal thoughts, they will trigger the protocol that gets you visits from crisis team, which some people say is useless. It's people who come to you and talk to you about how you're feeling. Sometimes they give you resources, and a lot of people I know already done all of the things that are recommended. Use a red pen to draw on your arm instead of self-harm, all of this stuff. And it's really, really hard. Helping someone who's got mental health issues is incredible challenge, even if you've been through it. What I haven't mentioned in my first go around is my fiance has the same personality disorder as me, so we take turns in caring for each other, and pushing people to get professional help, I think, is the best. Pushing the professionals to provide the help is also the best course of action.
Yeah, that's great advice. It is, as you said, it can be quite tough for that person to do that. And you hear it all the time with when people get older, and this might just be a gender thing as well, that some people don't like going to the GP. Some people won't go to the doctors when there's an issue with them in their physical health. So you can see how that could be even harder when it comes to their mental health, and it's hard to understand for some people what's going on. But once you can, so I struggled as a kid with learning difficulties. So going through university was quite tough. Going through school, I had a bad schooling time. But actually, once I understood my issues, it made me understand it, and I could kind of begin to grasp what was part of my issue. So being able to go to the GP and have an understanding of what's going on might, I'm not saying it might help some of those concerns you might have and the underlying issues you might worry about. I think could be helpful.
Definitely getting education, and also talking about it and changing the public's perception, because we still do treat mental health like something that he's making it up, or it's just in your head. Well, yes, I do not have a wart on somewhere on my skin that would be this is my mental health wart, but that doesn't mean it's not real. The fact that it's just in your head, it doesn't mean it's not real. And educating yourself and knowing why does it happen, how medication helps on the chemical level is also just informative, so you know what's happening to your body. And there's one thing that I feel very strongly about, and it's when somebody commits suicide, we say he died of suicide, and it's just not true. He died, or they died of depression, they died of PTSD, they died of whatever was happening to them. Suicide is not the illness. Suicide is not. It's just
it's the outcome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so outrageous. I'm at loss for words, because we need to. I think we need to start saying this in order to change the perception, because suicide is just the outcome of the illness, not something they've done. And also, people who commit suicide don't do it to us. And people who survive suicide, they often tell me, my family's reaction was, how could you do this to us? We love you.
Yeah.
Yes, they love you. A lot of people love you. A lot of people will be in terrible pain. But people should not be shamed for attempting suicide or committing suicide, because it's the last resort. And instead of shaming people for trying to commit suicide, we should be working on preventing them to get to the point where they feel like they need to commit suicide. Yeah, it's just 2 points I thought about while I was listening that I forgot to mention earlier. I hijacked your train of thought completely.
Thanks for coming back on. Sorry I cut you short. I should learn maths a bit better. It's not obviously my some point. Yeah, some more great advice there. But I can see Johnny is now in the depths waiting to chat. So I will let you go again. If you want to. If you're there, I'll see you there anyway. But I'll speak to you soon, yeah?
Yeah, speak soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.